Alpha and Omega 3. Good lord, I am not looking forward to this one. The first movie wasn't all that great, the second one was awful, and somehow these movies have a fan following so mind-bogglingly supportive that there are 3 more sequels before they finally just let it die. I rather doubt that my remarks will have an impact on whether or not the 4th and 5th movies will be released, but let no one say that I didn't try! So, let's take a look at the utter stupidity that is Alpha and Omega 3, The Great Wolf Games. First question that immediately comes to mind is, why did they make this movie about The Great Wolf Games? I like to imagine that they wanted to rip off the Hunger Games, and that all these wolves will end up stuffed and mounted on someone's wall. Our movie opens with Stinky, Claudette, and Runt following some alphas on a caribou hunt. But wait, the internet cried out. Why are we here instead of at the gas station where the pups were living at the end of Alpha and Omega 2? Well, you see, the answer is... I'm not exaggerating here. There is literally no explanation as to what happened between this movie and the last. Movie number 2 ends with Kate Humph and their pups living in some gas station, and movie number 3 begins with them back in their valley as if the last movie never even happened. Granted, I would like to forget that the last movie ever happened too, but come on! You can't continue a story in a completely different setting from where we left off without any explanation. Hell, even I explain why I'm suddenly in a different location, and I make internet reviews. Not even 2 minutes into this movie, and these filmmakers are just throwing up their hands and saying, screw it, we don't care. And why are these pups still as young as they were in the last movie? In the first movie, we see Kate and Humphrey grow from adolescence to adulthood in the span of only 1 winter. Why do these pups look like they haven't aged a day? What, do these filmmakers think that we'll only like these characters when they're little and cute? Well, okay, I guess that kind of makes sense, since it is completely impossible to make a character who's both appealing and older. Oh, wait! Anyway, these alpha wolves are being followed by some wolf pups from a neighboring pack, and not only are they the same models as Kate Humph's pups, but with different colors, thanks for showing us how not lazy you are, movie, but they also have trouble making sharp turns. But Claudette and her brothers can make sharp turns just by sitting down as they make their turns.
Thank you, Mom.
1. Wolves are less massive than caribou. However sharp a turn that a caribou might make, the wolves are going to have less inertia. They're going to be able to follow them pretty tightly. 2. Why does Kate apparently know how to do this move, but the other alphas in Alpha School wouldn't know how to do this move? 3. Really? Of all the things that there are for you to rip off, you want to rip off the drifting on dirt thing from Pixar's Cars?
Thank you, Mom.
So the caribou get away, and one of the other pups compliments their technique. And of course, he and Claudette instantly fall for each other. Oh my god. The female lead instantly falls in love with a new character who looks like some old character but with a slightly different coloration. This is a fanfiction movie, isn't it?
Who are you?
I'm Sonia, the hedgehog. I'm the ginger swap version of you from another dimension.
She accidentally got me pregnant when we were making out in a huge pile of chaos emeralds.
Why did you say that like it was a completely normal sentence?
And again, I have to ask why these pups are as young as they are. If the movie really has to have a subplot where Claudette falls in love with some new character, why isn't she older when she might actually be interested in boys? This is Romeo and Juliet sealed with a kiss all over again. I don't want to see characters this young getting all hot and bothered for each other. And you want to know what this new kid's name is? Fleet. Why would his parents name him Fleet? Stinky and Runt are already pushing the limits of stupid names in a world where these wolves have perfectly normal names like Humphrey, Kate, Garth, Lily, and so forth. But why would they name this wolf Fleet? There's only one of him! How do you get a fleet out of only one guy? Anyway, Fleet here tells them how he and his fellow alpha pups are training for the Great Games, which these kids apparently never heard of.
When we hit junior status, each region sends in 5 junior-aged alpha wolves. Huh? Oh, correction. 5 junior-aged critters. Doesn't have to be us alphas. Just ends up being that way.
Yo, Fleet, you gonna bring it?
Oh, we're gonna bring it, Ed.
Yeah, stellar voice acting too. Because all little kids sound like they're in their early 20s, right? The pups are pissed that their dad never told them about the games. And we then cut to Humphrey and one of his fellow Omegas sledding down the hillside on a log? What? That's amazing! Why didn't we see any of this in the last 2 movies?
Gotta love those alpha hunting trips.
How long is Kate gonna be gone?
At least 5 moons.
What?
How long is Kate gonna be gone?
At least 5 moons.
Okay, maybe the word moon as a measurement of time means something different to wolves, but to my human ears, it sounds like Kate and the other alphas have left for the next 5 months. I guess they actually got the right idea from looking at King's pack, and they decided that they should jump ship and form their own pack.
It's been too long.
Well, Mooch, I'm a hubby and dad. Had to put the Omega in park.
Oh no, the Bachelor with a bit of a reputation.
And along came Kate, and I get tamed.
Tamed? More like told to sit. Woo!
Dad,
Whoa, pups. How long have you been there?
you had us at reputation.
Don't you just love it when a movie shows a small child being excited about his father's reputation from his bachelorhood? They ask Humphrey why they aren't in the games, and he thusly explains.
We're juniors. We should be playing.
Everyone should be playing. That's the point. The games used to be for all critters, not just alpha wolves. You know what our pack stands for. Until the games return to being for all critters, we're taking a pass.
Oh yeah. This movie went there. Until these other packs become more accepting, Humphrey's pack is taking a moral stand and is boycotting the games. Hey, do you know what this direct-to-DVD kids movie about a bunch of wolves needs? I know! Why don't we make it an allegory for the Winter Olympics in Sochi? Seriously, these wolves are protesting these games until the other packs become more inclusive? They're clearly trying to make a parallel to the Sochi Winter Games. Because a movie about cartoon wolves really needs these topical undertones in order to appeal to the adults who are stuck watching this movie with their kids, right? But even if that's not the movie's intention, this just doesn't make sense. First of all, we've already broken the societal limitations between alphas and omegas in the first movie. What's the point in repeating that storyline here? Secondly, why is Humphrey taking a stand against these games? They already allow other critters to participate.
When we hit junior status, each region sends in 5 junior-aged alpha wolves. Huh? Oh, correction. 5 junior-aged critters. Doesn't have to be us alphas. Just ends up being that way.
If the games are for everyone, but the other packs just end up sending in their best alphas, that sounds to me like the other critters had their chance, but only the alphas prevailed. And this makes total sense, since alphas strive to be the best of the best in everything that they do. If these alphas ended up going to the games and these other, less accomplished animals didn't, how different is that from every sports team that ever existed ever? Sure, tryouts are open for everyone, but if you don't make the cut, then you don't make the cut. I know that the first movie was all about breaking down the barriers that society imposed on you, but the thing about that was that Humphrey proved himself. He made it a point that he was in fact more than just an Omega. If these animals try for these games and they fail for whatever reason, they can either keep on trying until they get it right, or they can move on until they find something that they're actually good at. The pups get the idea to make their own team, and they recruit this bear cub, who may or may not be the bear cub from the last movie.
I'm Brent, and this is my friend...
and protector, Agnes.
Well, Brent, I saw you running in the field today. Looks like you were chasing birds.
See? Everyone saw it.
Brent, it's okay.
No, it's not.
Because that's what bear cubs sound like, right?
I've never seen a wolf. You are really strange.
If the mean wolves see me, I'm a goner.
Okay, reset. You were saying?
He agrees to join their team if his porcupine friend Agnes can join too, and they let her on without knowing anything about her skills. What could possibly go wrong?
Agnes, stay in line.
They should have called this movie Alpha and Omega 3. Physics? What's that? So yeah, apparently a porcupine can run faster than wolves, and that somehow causes them to fly. Confused yet? No? Why don't we watch Brent be terrified of birds instead?
Oh
no! Brent, what are you doing?
He's got bird issues.
Bird issues?
They're not birds. They are monsters. You want a piece of me? Where did it go? I hear it over there. Tweet, tweet, tweet. I still hear it!
Brent, calm down!
It's hiding behind Stinky! I can hear it!
Okay, if this movie goes Happy Tree Friends on us and he kills everyone here, I will take back every bad thing I said about it. Seriously though, what in the 7th layer of hell is this? Why do we have a bear cub that's so terrified of birds that they send him into a homicidal rage? And what's worse is that this deeply rooted psychosis here is completely undone in less than 3 minutes. They ask Humphrey to be their coach and let them train, and we get a little training montage where we see Brent immediately get over his fear of birds. What was the point of that? Oh, and there are people who would say that the animation in the second movie was bad compared to the so-so animation of the first movie. I personally didn't think the difference in the animation quality was all that noticeable, but the animation in this movie is a huge step down. Not only is it rendered so cheaply that it looks like an unfinished GameCube project, but look at how these wolves are running. With a stride like that, you'd think they'd be moving a lot faster, right? But with what little distance they're covering, it looks like they're running on ice. Also, look carefully at this scene where Humphrey meets with the coach of the Northern Pack.
Fleet is strong on the rocks, and Claudette...
Did you see it? Did you see it? Here, let's look at it again.
Fleet is strong...
The background flickers from one sky to another. And no, this isn't me showing you a corrupted file that I downloaded. The clouds change too. This is actually part of the movie. Someone animated this. Someone got paid to animate this. They released this. How do you get away with that? I mean, think about it. Really think about it. Unless there's some dramatic camera movement flying through the clouds or something, the sky in a CGI movie like this is almost always just a JPEG stretched across the background. And unless the scene calls for a change in the weather or a passage of time, it's something the animator leaves completely alone. Changes in the sky are deliberate actions. It's one thing if a director misses a boom mic dipping into the frame or something. It can be hard to catch little accidents like that. But you know what this is? This is an animator who had to go out of his way and make the effort to change the sky to do this. And you know what? He probably did it just to see if the director would catch it. You know, like how the lieutenant from Plan 9 from Outer Space was waving his gun around to see if Ed Wood would tell him to knock it off, since that's a really, really stupid thing to do. Same thing here. This animator was screwing with the backgrounds to see if the director was paying attention, and he obviously wasn't. And even if this was purely an accident, and that's a pretty big if right there, it's a really easy problem to fix. Look, I was able to fix this in Photoshop in less than half an hour.
Fleet is strong on the rocks and Claudette on the field.
Well,
And yet, these are the people making multi-million-dollar movies, and here I am making videos out of my bedroom. There's just no justice in this world, you know? There's not. But hey, if you thought that Brent's ornithophobia wasn't enough, check out this lovely roadmap of mental scars.
I just love competition. I mean, I live for it.
Clearly.
Yes, I had a dream about this day. It was so clear. Running, sliding, the thrill of victory. You know, Father, I tried to win it for you. I really tried. I did. Father, I mean, she's a girl, I know, but it was the best that I could do.
Congratulations, movie! You did the impossible and made Johnny Depp's Willy Wonka look subtle.
I'm sorry, I was having a flashback.
I see.
Yeah, what cliched sports movie would be complete without the parents of the opposing team being so obsessed with winning to the point of being abusive to the kids they're vicariously living through? This movie's really pushing the envelope. The games begin with a relay race where Claudette is declared the victor thanks to that spin-out move of hers. And if we didn't see every other critter in this race make the same turn without that little move, this might actually be impressive.
What? The spin-out? The spin-out move? I haven't seen that since my games.
She learned it from her mom.
Kate?
Yeah. You know her?
Kate was a legend. I don't see another legend here.
Later, we see Fleet trying to practice his turns.
Whoa, 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 whoa! You have to lean your weight.
Mind your own race.
I'm just trying
My dad says you're good, but not as good as your mom was.
And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. The most horrible out-of-context line of dialogue you will ever hear in any movie.
My dad says you're good, but not as good as your mom was.
Yeah, you can't exactly break her down by saying she's not as good as her mom. Her mom beat your dad so hard that she left him scarred for life, and she's still better than you little moron. Then the next game comes, and it's another race. Huh. The girl from the Northern Pack wins, but I guess she hurt herself on the rocks, so she's out of the games. The Northern coach proposes that the final game be played just between Fleet and Claudette, further proving this guy's idiocy, since 4 against 4 still makes for better winning odds than 1 against 1, and they all agree.
You know, Claudette, I wonder if your games will be as good as your mom's.
Yeah, hello, Child Protective Services? I know of some screenwriters you might want to keep an eye on. Speaking of her mom, Kate shows up since she somehow got word of how they're doing in the games, which is a 1-to-1 tie so far, not something worth leaving a very important hunting trip for, if you ask me. And she gives Claudette some words of wisdom.
Mom, what was the most important thing to you?
Well, winning is fun, but I think digging down deep and seeing what you're truly made of is what really counts.
Fleet is strong on the rocks and Claudette on the field.
I can tolerate a lot of things in this world, but I refuse to be lectured about being the best that you can be from a movie that clearly doesn't give a damn about being the best that it can be. So we get to the final game and it's another race? Ugh. Damn it, Crest Animation, if you wanted to make a Cars ripoff, then why didn't you just make a damn Cars ripoff? I mean, come on! What's the point of making all of these games just a series of races? Why not have a gymnastics competition? Or maybe a scavenger hunt for things that you can only find by sniffing them out? Or, hey, we're in a national park, right? Why not a game to see who could sneak some food away from some campers without being noticed? Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot what movie we're watching. In order to include things like that, that would actually require imagination. And one more bit of horrible animation I have to bitch about. Take a look at this.
I did it!
That bear just teleported into frame. Why did the bear have to teleport into the frame? Again, this had to have been done on purpose. It had to. If the bear, for whatever reason, could only be in the scene for as long as the camera was pointed in its direction, why didn't the animator just program it to appear a few frames before the camera could pan over to it? And again, this is another problem that could have been easily fixed in post-production. But no, they just let it go right through the pipeline. Hey, here's an idea. Instead of ripping off Pixar's stories, why don't you try ripping off Pixar's professional standards so that maybe you'll be somewhat competent? Anyway, Fleet and Claudette finished the race in a tie because they've been helping each other out the whole way. You know what? Here's an idea. Why not have Claudette just throw the race? No, really, think about it. She sees just how psychotic Fleet's dad is about winning these games, and she figures that if Fleet loses to a girl just like his father did, he'll probably disown him if not just beat him to death for being a loser. So she decides to lose the race on purpose. Fleet's dad is happy, and Fleet recognizes the sacrifice that Claudette made for him, and he learns that there are more important things than winning, and she learns what it really means to dig down deep and show what you're really made of, even if you have to lose to do it. You know, teach the kids at home that the hero's journey is not always the easy one. But no, the race just has to end with the both of them winning.
Hooray! Everyone's a winner!
And everyone cheers because now these animals somehow stand more of a chance of being involved in the games next year than they did this year. Fleet's dad says that he's proud of him instead of beating him to a little pulp. Patty and Marcel force these children to kiss each other, because that's not creepy, right? And the movie closes with the two of them walking off together to train for next year's games. So that was Alpha and Omega 3, the great drinking myself into a stupor. The animation is trollingly bad. The story's cliched and predictable. The returning characters are blank slates, and the new characters are annoying, insane, or just stereotypes of stereotypes. None of the jokes are funny. The voice acting is wooden. The music they took from the first movie almost never fits with whatever scene they haphazardly toss it into. Nothing about this movie feels like they were actually trying. And clocking in at only 41 minutes long, it's painfully obvious that these filmmakers simply do not care. And after subjecting myself to something this horrible, there's only one thing that can cheer me up.
Take a deep breath. Howl from right here. And I'll join in.
Lily makes everything better. See you next time.
And then they all kissed Kevin and got the super pregnant. The end.
Subscribe, like, follow, comment, share, watch more.